For sure, when it finished, I thought, leave me the fuck alone. I don't want to speak to none of you. Go away.
Funeral direction business is private, the sexiest occupation in the UK.
If I had known his answer, I wouldn't have invited my family.
Can you just set the record straight? What happened?
This is something that's been bothering me a little bit that I've been seeing online.
What is life like now, and especially as of tomorrow, when everyone's going to know what's happened?
Crazy.
I think it's so fun. There's obviously nothing that any of us have experienced before, so it's like a completely different life, but I can only speak for myself. I think it's super fun and just enjoying every moment.
I think for me, I'm navigating life. It's been very mixed, but I'm learning each day, and I'm so grateful still. Because without it, you know, I don't think I would be the girl I am today, even just sat here with all the other girls. So, yeah, it's challenging for me, but I'm grateful.
Yeah, great. I'm loving life, to be honest with you. I feel like it's so nice to watch back the journey and to see the growth. So there's nothing I would change, and I think it's just now adjusting to this new kind of norm of like people actually knowing who you are. But at least I could be like, who you see there is who I am here. So
yeah,
you know, and the people that do gravitate towards you will be your people. The people that don't, all the best.
I actually find it really difficult. Obviously, you know, things didn't work out quite as how I had hoped it was going to work out. So this was actually a really difficult year for me. I was diagnosed with depression. I was put on anxiety tablets for the first time in my life. And I had to, like, a lot of anticipatory grief that I had to work through of kind of what the life I thought I was going to have following the show. So the first kind of 5-6 months of this year were really incredibly difficult for me. But I feel like I'm coming out the other side now. It's quite nice being back and around the girls. I quite isolated myself for a long time, but being back with the people who understand what you've been through has been really lovely. And it's actually been, like, I've been in London for the last 10 days, and it's been great. And I was a bit overwhelmed when it all first kind of came out, and I ignored it for a couple of weeks. But I'm embracing it now, and I am enjoying it.
And you're going nowhere.
Yeah.
We'll bring you out.
Of course, it's such a unique experience that only 30 of you can really share. Does that help to be all around back with your girls again, because they know exactly what you've all been through?
I think so. Like, you always have your friends at home and like where you came from and your rocks back at home. But I just think with all the girls sat here and the other two, like, you just can't relate.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what goes on behind the scenes or disputes, you're always going to have each other because they were there from the start to now, and you're going to be there for life.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like Catherine said, you can go back to your best friends and your family, but it's not the same as being able to talk to Demi or Jasmine or Sabrina or Kat. It's because they just haven't been through it. And same as what Sabrina said, I feel like a lot of us, when this experience ended, wanted to disconnect completely from everyone and all of it. And obviously now we're getting a chance to like rewatch it and go back through. I feel like it's just such a positive thing, because now we can see it in a positive light, and it's just such a fun experience. And I think now we can take it for a fun experience, whereas when we finished we were like, hate this, like don't want to be part of it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
You're trying to figure out, like, was that just real? Like,
yeah.
Did that just happen?
Yeah, and it's like you kind of need to kind of distance yourself to go on your own personal journey.
Yeah.
And what was beautiful about watching it back is like seeing how everyone else's journey is kind of unfolding, then understanding, okay, you was going through that, oh no, you kind of put the pieces to the puzzle, and then you can come back together and be like, let's just laugh about it and embrace the next chapter.
I think we're a lot happier now. I don't know about you, but I really do. Like, it was so dramatic, and we were so happy in our couples, but I just think now, but now I just think, I don't know, I feel like the girls are like back together, like how we were in that van going to the pods, and just, I don't know, I just feel like we really all do actually have each other's back.
Yeah, for sure. I think now we've had a year out, we like each other again. For sure.
I
When
needed
it
a breather.
finished, I thought, leave me the fuck alone. I don't want to speak to none of you. Go away.
What has life been like since everyone knows your faces now? You've been watching you on TV. Kind of all of you.
Always good. Go on. Listen, you had the bigger response.
The funeral direction business is private, the sexiest occupation in the UK.
Yeah, I've never embalmed so many people. No, it's been I don't know. It's just been normal for me. Like, I don't know. Take social media out of the equation. Nothing. Just normal life. Just got up, have my breakfast.
So hungry.
Honestly, Freddie.
No, it's true though. It's like nothing. Yeah.
No one's
No, do you
stopping
know what,
anyone in
though?
the street.
I've been getting stopped. I think a lot of like, people have seemed so invested. I think that's what's really like, it's touching and but also kind of like weird. It's like people literally run up to me, are you still with Demi? I'm like, well, I've no spoilers on that. And I've had that a lot, so that's cool. But again, it's nice because it shows how invested people are in our relationship and our journey. And yeah.
The craziest thing is the worldwide impact it's had. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, but on your followers, you can see the time zone of when people start following you and stuff. That's pretty crazy.
I've got to say, like, it's been amazing, like, all of the attention. I think, like, you know, the thing that made this show different from, like, Love Island is all of the issues and the challenges that we have are so relatable to people. Like, when you're talking about, like, finances, when you're talking about emotions, like jealousy, you know, they're, like, things which happen to real couples. It's not sensationalised. It's not like Love Island where they're put into these different environments. It's real.
Very healthy conversations we had, weren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I definitely saw, especially with you and Demi in and outside of the pods. You had such like important conversations. And do you think that, you know, the authenticity of Love is Blind definitely helps more people speak about it?
100%. I've had some really, really nice messages around the ADHD thing and everything, saying like, I feel so seen. I genuinely didn't expect that to be the case, and like so many people messaging, I feel so seen, I feel so understood. You described it exactly how I experienced it, and that's been really, really nice. And if I can just help one person be like, address their neurodiversities in a different way because they're seeing it on the big screen, that's touched me enough. And like I said, I had no intention of talking about it. Demi's just so intelligent and so astute that she noticed it, and so she wanted to ask about it, and then that was that. But I'm so glad she did, because again, the response has been really, really amazing.
Absolutely. And of course, if we go to the weddings, you know, a lot of different answers and, you know, things were made. You know, if we take it back to the build-up we see before you walk down the aisle, had either of you had maybe a different yes or no into comparison to what you actually said at the altar, or did you always have an idea if it was going to be yes or if it was going to be no?
I had one little wobble the night before, but that was about it, really. I thought that was natural to have. I didn't know if you would have had that anyway, even if you weren't going through this process.
You'd have that after a 5-year relationship.
Yeah, so I don't know about you guys.
For me, I think me and Kat were quite transparent with our sort of feelings and things. So, yeah, I do. The thing is, I did have my doubts. Obviously, even up until the wedding day, I was thinking, should I, shouldn't I? But I was pretty clear with Kat about how I felt and what my decision would be. So, yeah, I mean, the discussion I had with my sister before kind of just concreted the sort of decision for me. But I do feel as if I kind of knew my decision prior to the wedding day.
And how about you, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, I think Maria and I were always great at communicating, and we communicated a lot about how we were feeling about it. But I think Ben told me something really interesting in the build-up to our wedding. He gave me a perspective which was like, even if there's a 1% chance that you're going to say yes, it's worth going through with it. Because there was a time, being transparent, when we weren't even sure, because it was such a massive moment for both of us. And I think particularly Maria, because you know, I think every girl dreams about their wedding and walking down that aisle in the wedding dress, and when you know that it's not going to be a yes, that's probably a very bittersweet moment.
You don't see it, but that wedding day I was really, really torn, because it was kind of where your logical mind is going against your heart. So for me, my heart was like, of course, this is your person, like, of course you're going to marry him, like, this makes perfect sense. Where my logical mind was being like, it's not been enough time, you haven't experienced the outside world together, you don't know where anything about where he lives, his work, any of these kind of key things that really matter in a relationship. And I think for me, I just wish I had listened to my intuition a little bit more, and that's probably been a lesson that I've really learned the hard way. But it's like, I honestly can't imagine anyone who's getting married not standing there and rethinking your entire journey to that point. Like, it's
not a light decision.
It's not.
It's the
No.
person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with.
Yeah.
And I think you can get so lost in that in the experiment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
You don't have
Yes.
the outside noise, and you're just taking it for
Yeah.
what it is in that moment. And even for myself, like, I was very conflicted on the day. Like, I'm all over the place, like, heart, head, but you know, deep down, you know what your answer needs to be for you.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's,
I also feel like, I don't know about you girls, but for me, and this isn't making light of the experiment, this is going to sound really silly because it's marriage, it feels so important at the time, and it literally feels
It's
like
like your
life
life
or death.
Yeah, it is
And
like
then you
your
get
life
out of it and you're like,
depends on it.
what the hell? It's not that deep.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what? you've known this person for
Well.
6 weeks. No, but I'm speaking from me who said no. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
what I
deep
mean.
for me.
Yeah.
If you said yes, it's completely
No, I
different.
get
But for
that.
saying no, I was like, it's not that deep, Maria. Like, knew him for 6 weeks, get over it. But because you don't have the outside noise,
It's
it
so
feels
hard.
like it's
Yeah.
everything
Oh
at
my
the
God.
time.
I mean, I said Jess and Freddie said no, but I remember having dinner with you one day, and I remember you really were like, you know, Catherine, this is real. But I was so caught up in it, and do you know, it's actually hard to watch because I actually want to shake myself watching it, and I'm
what
like,
are you doing?
why are you not seeing? Why are you not listening?
Yeah.
Like, you know, why was I feeling so insecure? And that's not me. Why was I feeling like that? And I ignored it. But again, would I change it? Probably not, because I'm learning so much.
Yeah.
But you are invested in this wedding. You went on that show. You wanted the
Yeah.
happy ending. So it's tough.
Yeah.
It is
And like
tough.
I had 40, we had 40 friends and family there. Like my brother, like, and my whole family had to pay. Like that's not
No.
provided. So like all of my friends and family had to pay for flights, accommodation. My brother flew in from Korea.
Yeah, our
like,
family had to travel.
Yeah, so it was a big deal to have like, and that adds another level of pressure in the sense that all of these people are here because of me.
Yeah, I
so
felt
it's-
like I was so upset because I brought my mum and dad into this. If I had known his answer, I wouldn't have invited my family. It would have just been my, you know, the odd friend, and that would have been it.
And of course, we see, Catherine, you tell your friends, you know, at the bachelorette party, you know, if you think it's a no,
Yeah.
then I'm not going to walk down. I guess for you, and you, Maria, did you have any ideas that yes wasn't going to be the answer on the day, or is it so like
I did.
love? Oh, okay.
No, I think me and Tom. Me and Tom. I think me and Tom were we were on the same page. Like we knew it was going to be a no.
Yeah, you guys.
We knew there was so much more that we had to learn about each other, and like realistically, we knew there were people out there that were going to make us happier. But again, you get so invested in this, and you're like, I've put my whole life out there. I really need to try and work at this as much as I can. But me and Tom should have left way before the wedding.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I don't know if you've seen in Freddie's mibs, he's saying, you know, he wanted to make the marriage work and he wanted to marry me. And off camera, there's a lot that people don't see. But again, I really, really was rooting for us. But if I had known it was a no, and even up until the wedding day, I didn't know his answer. You know, we have conversations, but it does change, and people need to remember that, you know, you're off camera together and conversations happen. But yeah, I think if I had known he was going to say no, I wouldn't have turned up, and he knew that.
Of course, and with your wedding with Demi, we saw you asked why. It was such a shock. Had you had any inkling that was the way she was going to go?
Yes. It's a complicated one. I think for me, I don't really know how to even describe it, but I think in hindsight, yeah, the right decision was made for both of us. We're both in good places. We're best friends now. Like we're probably, in a weird way, our relationship's even better now than it was then. It's just a different type of relationship. But I've got all the love in the world for her. I could never say a bad word about her. So I think that's the most important thing.
Absolutely. And of course, you know, speaking to the girls earlier, there is such a unique bond that you all share, you know, the 30 of you, because no one else has really experienced this outside of this bubble. Does it, you know, help when you guys like speak to one another about any, you know, issues you face, like since being on the show and things like that, just because, well, you all get it?
Yeah, for me, we're all, you know, we're not with our partners anymore from the experiment. So for me, I do get a lot of comfort in speaking to, you know, the lads. You know, it does help me a lot. If I've got something on my mind, if I've got something on my mind, I'll go to my sister, I'll go to my mates, I'll go to my mum. But they can't relate to the experience that we went through. They don't know that journey that we went through. So it's something unique that we share. You know, it's a bond that we have together. So most definitely, like, we all talk to each other and sort of share our feelings, and it helps.
Are we going to move in together?
Probably.
Love this blind house back to the pods. I love that. And I mean, this has been such like an exciting season again, as we've spoken. You know, when you stepped into the pods, you know, signed, said you're going to do this, had you ever expected to find where you are now in comparison to a year ago?
I ain't gonna lie, I zoned out. I'm so sorry, I missed the question.
I didn't understand
A year ago, when you guys stepped into the pods, had you ever expected the position you'd be in now?
No chance.
I
didn't even think I was falling in love in there. And then I thought there was another barrier. There's no way I'm proposing to a wall. You would have sat me across the table and with a pint. I said, no chance am I doing that. But what the beautiful thing was is the crazy things that you do and the version it brings out of you when you're falling in love. And it was so nice to see everyone be vulnerable, and you could see people falling in love. Like, obviously, I didn't get to see them do it. I saw the other side of it, you know. So
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting that whatsoever.
Like our cast was a bit older, I think, from the US one, and like
Speak
that.
for yourself, bro.
And that's a good thing, I think, because it comes with that level of maturity, but it also comes with a level of like cynicism. And I was the same as Steve. I was like, you know, this is the last chance saloon for me because the apps aren't working. But when you're in it, you're so in it, and it is genuinely real. And then you step out of it, and I reflect back on it, and I was like, that was all real emotion and an amazing experience.
It's a crazy sort of thing, concept, but unless you're part of it, it's difficult to kind of articulate. And I think that we just kind of trusted the process, and that was it.
Absolutely. And, you know, are there any things you look back and, you know, we've seen it all play out on TV. Is there anything you would have done differently, or are you not holding any regrets for how you know, handled yourself on the show?
I mean, I personally, I'm not holding any regrets. I think I was true to myself, true to Kat, and yeah, there's things I've seen that I'm not happy about, but it's kind of like, for me, no, I'm kind of content with how I've portrayed myself because it's just me.
Yeah, I kind of echo that. There probably is, in hindsight, there probably is things I would have done differently, said differently, addressed differently, but at the same time, there's no point dwelling on that. We were ourselves at the time.
Yeah.
No matter what, you know, we were true to ourselves in that headspace, and there's no point thinking I would have done this, that, and the other. So yeah.
100%, I echo. We were all ourselves. It was just so authentic, and you know, I think you could see that. You could see everyone tackling their own hurdles the way they would tackle it, and they just showed that they were human. You know, so no regrets.
That's it. I think when you've got, you know, you're in that situation for 2 months, it's going to highlight your good stuff and it's going to highlight your flaws. You know, and as long as you're aware of those things and you can make sure that you're working on them, then that's all you can be doing, really.
Absolutely. And I guess one final question, you know, what's next for you guys? You know, the show's going to be over soon. Anything in the pipelines, or just going to crack on with life how it's been?
Just crack on, back to funerals.
We'll see what comes.
Hopefully we get to spend a bit more time with each other though.
Yeah.
It's really nice to see each other again, and it's like we haven't been away from each other, so that's really good.
Exactly, and that's one of the crazy things about this past year is like we've not been able to be really transparent about the experiment because of obviously the embargo and stuff. So it's really, really nice being able to talk about it more openly.